Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. It is Dating with Katy, and we're going to chat about my 3 C's. Actually, I have 5 C's, but these 3 C's are something that everybody needs to really get their head around because it kind of is, it's a roadmap for dating, and a lot of you on the 1C, which is chemistry, you guys get a little detoured. So today we're going to talk about chemistry, connection, and compatibility. And what do those really look like when you are dating someone? And what is the most important? I want to make sure that you tune into my next podcast as well, because those will be my next 2 C's, but we'll save that for later. All right, you guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you rate this. Give me 5 stars. Tell me what you love. Email me, DM me, whatever you got to do. I also have subscribe on Instagram, which is all my master classes. I go deeper into all of these things. So you're going to want to do that as well. And thank you to Cinqe Matchmaking. It is a chosen and proven network of vetted dates. Make sure you get into that database and that network, and you can find that on the links below. All right. Well, let's get started because this is a big one today. Everybody always asks me about chemistry. Well, the truth is, chemistry is just one part of dating. It's the beginning part. And we'll get into that. We're talking chemistry last year because I really want us to focus on connection and compatibility and why those are so critical in dating. Now, before I get started, I do want to share that I have this great story. I have a client who signed for a 3-month dating contract, and he was very specific as he wanted only quality. The best of the best, Katy. I don't want to go on multiple dates. I only want the best of the best. Now, I have a network of women I look for in my database, and I reach out to them. I use friends that are personal, that I know are single and fantastic. And then I actually go up to people who I can just see they have this vibe and energy of quality, down to earth, healthy and fit. If you haven't listened to my 4 foundations, it's episode 2. It is that important that you have the 4 foundations of dating. And those are the people I can see. I can just feel it. And this woman was at a restaurant, and I was debating whether or not going up to her. She was at the bar by herself on a Saturday. I was so impressed that she was just, doing life and enjoying her day. And I was in workout gear. I didn't really want to go up there, but she was talking to the gentleman next to her, and he was definitely not of her caliber, right? But nonetheless, she was being polite and friendly. So I pretended to be going to the bathroom, and I sidetracked over to her, and I just butted in, and I said, "Hey, my name is Katy. I'm a matchmaker, and I would love to know if you're single." And honestly, the look on her face was, yes, help me out with this guy because he's obviously not my caliber. But nonetheless, I got her into the database. She's in my network. I read over what she's looking for, and I have a client in mind for her. So I speak to my client and I show him her photos, which, by the way, please have great photos. Episode 17, 18, somewhere there, I talk about good photos. It is so critical, sales and marketing here, people. So I show my client her bio, the things she wrote and the photos she sent. And he said, I dated her 2 years ago and I really, really like her. And it just wasn't good timing for me. So here it is, the circle back. And I am a big believer in the circle back when you do it right. Sure enough, they went out on a date and they've been dating ever since. And yesterday I was so excited. They hired me to do a picnic. Now, if you didn't know this, it's a side gig, it's a side hustle, and I do it just because I love to make things beautiful. And I threw myself a party, and then I just kept buying stuff at Home Goods and Amazon. Ladies, you know how that is. And so I have a little company called Perfect Picnic SoCal. Go check it out on Instagram. I love making memories with people, and it's so great to see my clients making those memories because not only do I want to set you up with someone great, I want you to stay with someone great. I want relationships. I want it to be normal to be in great relationships. This shouldn't be like the random couple who's in a great relationship. I want you and all of my friends and singles and those who are connecting with me to be in great relationships. So be encouraged today and know that I'm a dating coach, but nonetheless, these are just things you need to know for a great relationship. So let's talk about the first one. It's about being compatible in life. Like, what exactly does compatible look like? And I like to use the analogy of a picture frame. And when I say a picture frame, it means if you were to line up your current pictures of your current life, would that look similar to someone you're dating? So for example, you are a single mom with kids of a certain age. Does the picture frame look similar to the guy that you want to date? It's much easier to date with the same picture frame. And it used to be common before there were apps and before you had so many choices Aunt Betty and Grandma Nancy lived on the same street, and they both had single grandkids or nieces or nephews, and they would say, hey, let's set them up. Kind of like the old Yenta style. They would look at the compatibility, that they were already part of the neighborhood, same family values. So that was easy. It was made simple back then. But now we are so swayed by, ooh, look at this guy. He travels the world, but I've never traveled. Maybe he'll take me. Honestly, a guy who travels the world or a woman who travels the world wants to be with someone who travels the world too, because they get it. It's not easy all the time to travel the world. And I have traveled extensively. You want to be with someone that you're compatible with. So I always like to say compatibility is about life goals. Are you on the same page for life goals? Do you love to travel? And so do they. Do you do life well together? I just was chatting with a woman, and she was telling me about her boyfriend who passed away. And she said every morning they would read. He would read and she would read. You can be in the same room and read together, and that is compatibility. It's easy to do life with somebody who reads. Then they would go work out, and then they would get bread. Life just went well. It was easy to do life together. So one of the other things, too, that you need to realize in compatibility is how do you move through problems? Now, this just arose for me, and I've been dating someone for a long time, but it's not if, it's when. When problems arise, if you are compatible, and I can tell you this through my children, because I have 3 different kids, one child I'm highly compatible with. Easy to work through, easy to get stuff done with. Another child, not so compatible. He and I combat each other. And we have a great relationship nonetheless, but I could see in his personality, he and I just did not work well together when it came to getting things done. So you want to be able to move through life and difficulties with someone you're compatible with. Again, I have dated men where situations arise and my energy and intensity and passion increases theirs. So for me, I'm most compatible with someone who is calm, collected. It helps bring me down, calms me down. And even though it's not the same, it helps for us to be compatible. Think through those things. And if you do have children, think about how different each child is and which one you work best with. Again, I find that my kids are a great reflection of me, so it helps me also when I was out dating. Next is similar interest. Again, as exciting as it sounds to be enchanted by a man who travels a lot or who rides Harleys. I mean, I dated a guy who rides Harleys, and yeah, it's cool, but yuck. No thanks. I loved it because he was a CEO, sophisticated guy, but then on the weekends, he'd put the jeans on with a chain coming out of his back pocket with his wallet, and he'd get on that Harley, and he'd want me to jump on the back and just hold tight. And you know what? No thanks. Not for me. As interesting as it sounds and as cool, I mean, I've met great Harley guys. Sturgis people are phenomenal. I would love to have them as friends, but I cannot date one because I cannot play the Harley game. So it just was not a good compatible place for me to be with a guy. So similar interests are huge. And this is why I truly bring up the fact that your religion, your education, and your politics and your value system around those really matter. I know sometimes we put those aside and say it's not a big deal, or we'll untruthfully tell ourselves, well, I lay in the middle, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. And even in our network, we ask those questions. I want someone to be with someone who they value the holidays. They value going to church on Sunday. Or they don't, and that's fine too. They value high education. They value their conservative thinking. They value like giving to the poor. Whatever that is, those things are critical because otherwise you're going to fight. And if you're not compatible, the fighting won't go well and you're going to end up single again. We're avoiding that. And lastly, you guys just enjoy each other with a true interest in each other's likes. So make sure that you're in that same picture frame. You should know because literally you can see it in their picture frame. Is that something you would do? Is that something you've already done? And that is what makes you compatible. So your goals right now and future forward is what creates compatibility. Now, connection is different. Connection is souls. So compatibility is goals. Connection is souls. And some people will say that it's either there or not. And I do think there's some truth to that, but I also think connection is work. To connect and stay connected with someone in your soul space is work. You can easily get lazy about that and not connect. You could still be compatible, but never connect. And this is where the EQ comes in, EIEQ. Where are you traveling in 2023? You're traveling with me. You're traveling on the Dating with Katy single trips. Our first one will be in January to bring in the 2023 in warm weather, poolside, tequila shots, all included at the beautiful Breathless Resort. Bring your bestie, sign up, make it your Christmas gift to yourself, because in that middle of winter, you're going to be happy that you joined us. Space is limited. Then, if you want a more difficult trip, well, I say that as a pun, you're going to want to join us for 10 days in Tuscany, where we will be difficultly drinking wine, looking for truffles, sitting by the beaches, going through the small communities of Lucca and the churches and the bars, and everything is included in that trip as well. You will want to join me. Space is limited. Make sure you click, sign up, put your down payments, and I will see you in Cancun and in Italy. So which is emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. You know, you've got your IQ, which is up in your head, and a lot of men run in the IQ space. But women are looking for guys who can move in the EQ space. It's a lot more commonplace for us to have that natural energy and vibe. And so please remember that you have to put effort in to have connection. You have to have effort in visiting them, and your effort should be increasing for there to be more connectivity. You also have to have deep conversations with this person. There has to be a connection. And again, guys, I've said this often, you've got to hear her heart. You can't just listen, you've got to hear her heart. So make sure you're putting effort into those deep conversations. You want to be in a place where you're safe with that person, especially women. Safety is huge. Can you trust? Are they safe? Can you be you with that person? And you begin to get involved in each other's life. And you could be compatible with a lot of people, but doesn't mean there's connection. So connection is, again, the effort, getting involved, feeling safe. It is that emotional space that is good and you feel it. So, and you're open to their passions. So this is where connecting with them through becoming compatible with them about what they love. My dad loved golf. My mom never took up golf. She never joined him. She never even sat and watched him hit balls. And I think what a sad opportunity they missed to not really connect in that. Now, she didn't have to be a great golfer. He surely didn't expect that. But they would have had more compatibility and connection had she done that. Well, let's move on to chemistry. Now, like I said, the connection is souls, compatibility is goals, and chemistry, holes. Sorry, it's the only word I can think of that rhymed. But let's be honest, it is all about the physicality. Chemistry is the big thing you guys all want on the first date, and that's why you don't do a second date, and that's why you're not doing my 3-3-3 rule, which go back and listen to the last podcast. It's all about that. There has to be more credibility in connection and compatibility than there is in chemistry, because this is why. Chemistry is like the spark of a fire. You need that spark, and there needs to be some sort of, fire under your ass about this person. But guess what? That spark doesn't keep the fire going. The embers keep the fire going. And that is truly what connection and compatibility bring to the relationship. And again, physicality is very visual. It's very selfish. So when you think of chemistry, you're only looking for it because it benefits you. And that is not love. Let's be reminded here that love is about giving. Chemistry is about receiving. You want to receive it. You kind of allow that person to consume you, and you consume them. And in chemistry, you miss so many red flags. And that is the danger of moving forward just because there's chemistry. Now, look, I have had chemistry with 30-year-olds, and it's fun for the minute, and it's not where I want to go in life. There's no compatibility. It's fun and, dinner out and dancing or whatever it was, but that's really not what people are looking for. People of quality, and you guys know how I feel about that. You're cool, you're quality, and you're ready to be in a real relationship. So stop letting chemistry not move you forward. A lot of women don't want to be too forward on a date, although I encourage being flirty and fun. A lot of women are going to hold that back and be a bit reserved, guys, only because they've been burned. And then gentlemen, you need to be a little bit more fun and flirty yourself because these women think you're a little droll on dates. So both of you will give me feedback and say, well, there was just no chemistry on the date. And I really have to look and think about the person who's giving me that feedback and say, well, were you even fun? Were you engaging? Did you make her laugh? Did you give her lots of compliments? And I need to look at her and say, well, did you touch him? Did you giggle? Did you play with your hair? Are you guys actually creating the chemistry? And it's okay to say that you're creating it, because I can tell you this, on all the over 100 dates that I've been on, I know that I bring the flirt. I can bring the chemistry, because without it on a first date, you guys aren't giving anybody a second date. So let's begin to build chemistry and flirting into our dating life, and then moving forward in 3 dates, because there is connection, because there could be great compatibility. Last story. The woman next to me in Spin today said, Katy, I met my husband on Match long time ago. It's because he had a dog. She connected because he had a dog. She loves dogs. She has a dog business. And she said, honestly, I would never have picked him out in a bar. Look at that. And chemistry is so often visual and physical that she would have passed him over. She said, he's the greatest guy and I adore him. So let's move forward. Make sure you listen to my next podcast where we're talking about communication and compromise. These C's are everything in a relationship. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe, get on my email list, and we will talk soon.